pull someone out of the crowd though for our speaker today. So every week at Business at Breakfast, one of the members gets the opportunity to share with the group further insights into their business. They can enlighten the group a bit more about themselves. They can ask a question, problem solve, seek assistance from the group as a collective. The time is theirs to use however they would like. Sometimes I have a speaker lined up and sometimes I just wait and see what happens. Mr. Earl, you're up today. I'm going to put you in because you wrote to me a while ago and I know I didn't respond back, although it's been sitting there with a dot next to your name so that I don't forget, but you've been on my mind. I've just been waiting for you to come into the right meeting where I pull you up. I did know that you wanted to speak, and as a DJ, you're one of those who should just be able to speak off the cuff, and I thought I would just allow that to happen. Sometimes I think people should be given warning, and sometimes I think it's good for us to all know that when we're excited about what it is that we do, we can just talk about it. If you're given some parameters to talk about, you can stay on topic. So it's good for those who get anxious about talking. They can watch somebody else do it off the cuff. But also, and it's just good practice as well, because, you know, we're always going to get asked, what is it that you do? Or I know with networking, this one gets asked a lot in a one-to-one. Now, Earl, you can nod and agree with me or not. So tell me if it's true or false. Do you often get asked this question? Earl, tell me more about what you do.
Okay. Yeah.
Right?
Being able to come up with stuff right off the top of my head is something I'm good at doing.
No. So I'm asking a question first. I'm asking a question first, right? True or false? When you're in a one-to-one, do you often get asked, tell me more about what you do? True or false?
Yes. True.
Isn't that interesting, right? True. Now, if for everybody else, if we could just look at that question, tell me more about what you do. More compared to what? What do they know already? So I've got a problem with that question, right? While we get asked it, is knowing how to answer it, right? Because when a person gets asked that, they tend to just waffle off. Do you agree, Earl, that if you ask someone that, I've asked someone that, made the mistake of saying, oh, tell me more about what you do. And about 45 minutes later, I'm still hearing stuff. All right. And I'm thinking, I'm not sure that it's in any particular order. I'm not really sure what's going on right now. Right. So that's where we can go with that question. So I'm going to say this, Earl, I want you to tell us more about what you do, but I want you to be really specific. I want you to stick to only your elevator pitch and what you talk about in your elevator pitch. You have less than 8 minutes to enlighten us. Feel free to do it in like 3 or 4, if that, and make us ask you questions. All right. So this more about what you do. Really do your elevator pitch again and the history of how it happened, and then really stop talking. And you'll see what questions we have based off this answering. Tell me more about what you do. Go.
To wrap it all up in a basket for you, I am a live DJ. I own NightWolfEventdj service as well as the Midwest Plainsman podcast, Williams Telecom Consultation Services, and also I'm a volunteer first responder. Been doing that since the late 80s here in Iowa. And basically I started off back in 2001 with the DJ service. I was converting over from being an outside telecom contractor at the time because my contract was due to expire. So I got into the DJ work. I volunteered for it, started getting paid for it, and just started building up to it because people really liked what I was doing. They liked my style, and so it really caught attention. So I wound up taking off with it. Then about midway through, about 2007 is when I got into doing internet radio. Been doing that ever since. And then 2010 is when I got into actual podcasting. That took off hot and heavy after about 2012. I got my start back before it became an actual thing. So what I've done is I've combined all those years of experience to work with business owners, individuals, and others who want to create their own podcast and or short videos so that they can increase their business, so that they can develop a professional image for themselves, and to bring in new clients, especially if they've got a business where they have products that they sell or services that they sell. just by having that podcast and or short videos can do a world of good for business owners. So that's what I'm all about here. And plus I've also put together everything under the um, adage of helping others. And I get that from being a first responder since the late 80s. It's to me, it's all about helping others, and that's the way it should be. I see so many people out here trying to take advantage of and charging several hundred to $1,000 to do what I'm doing, and yet I'm doing it to help others and to work within their budgets, because we all know that as a business owner, we all have budgets that we have to stick with. So I am here to help others and to do it in the best way possible. And all the work that I do can be done virtually. So I can work with anybody over the net, virtually anywhere. And but if somebody definitely needs to have me face to face with them, that can also be arranged. Um, so essentially, as a DJ, as a entertainer, also somebody who specializes in music, telecommunications, the podcasting side of things. I have everything all wrapped up in one service, and you can't get any better than that.
Excellent. All right, Earl. That's a great spot to stop at. I'm going to allow everybody else to ask you questions. Who's got some questions for Earl?
Go ahead, Adrian.
Yep, Adrian.
Yeah, hi. Hey, Earl, I love the fact that you're a first responder and a DJ. And my question to you is, what's your best music and your best ever song as a DJ?
Oh, brother. That's a loaded question. Oh man. I gotta say, I grew up in the times of, I grew up in the 70s and 80s. So basically the 80s country, the 80s classic rock, that is where I hit home. And I got to admit that I got to go with Skinnerd.
Yes. Born to be wild.
Excellent. Excellent. Anyone else got a question for Earl? Yep, Patricia.
Okay, I have two questions. I would like a little bit more of clarity. When you say you help with podcasting, what exactly?
Yeah, so basically what I've done is I've done the legwork and the research to put together the packages of equipment that, because people are always going to have questions as to how do I go about starting a podcast? What equipment do I need? What software do I need? And how can I get myself started? So, like I said, I've done the research and the work to put together a great package of the microphone, the software, everything else that you're going to need that's not going to break the bank. And plus also recommendations on the software, the platforms, so that you can easily get yourself started and not have it be difficult. Because people tend to think that you have to invest a small fortune into doing this when you don't.
Okay, so it's more like a consultancy session with you?
Yes.
Okay, and then so another question: how can you guarantee some success with what you offer? In the sense that people can see that it goes better for them with their business?
What I recommend for somebody just starting off is you want to have a good basis for your platform that you want to discuss. So I'm going to encourage you to write out a full platform on the topics that you want to cover. that you know people are going to want to listen to and get involved with and get interested in. That's the key point to making it successful.
Okay, thank you.
Excellent. Well done. Thank you so much, Earl, for that answer. Thank you, Patricia, for asking those questions. All right. Who's got the burning question then, since we've discovered it's like a consultancy thing? Who's got
Go ahead, Tracy.
a burning question? Who's going to ask it? Otherwise,
Yeah.
I will.
Hi,
Yep, Tracy.
Earl.
What is it?
You mentioned that you have done podcasting yourself. That's why you do what you do. What was the subject primarily with your podcasting?
Right now, with all the different topics that I do cover, right now I'm focusing on independent musicians, singer-songwriters, bands, and artists that are not mainstream. So I can help them get recognized and help to promote them and their music. And the best one that I've done so far is I had the honor and privilege to talk with a wife of a deceased musician out of New York. She is carrying on his legacy. And I spent a good hour talking with her. And after we got done talking, she came back to me and said that that was the most comfortable interview that she's ever sat in on. And she couldn't believe how comfortable she felt opening up to me with sharing all of her husband's work. And that really hit home for me.
Excellent. Thank you. Dr. Chris, you've got your hand up.
Yes, I have. Thanks very much, Earl. One question I have is, what's the most gratifying aspect of being a first responder?
Well, it's all about serving your community. I started off in my home community, which only has had a population of like 12 to 1,300 for several years. I come from a small farming community here in Iowa where everybody does their part to help each other, and that includes all the volunteer services. And especially when you're responding to a neighbor, there are times where it can be trying. There are times where you have to put your emotions on the back burner because you may know that person, but you have to give the best professional and quality care that you can. And so that the family sees that, the patient sees that, and they know that they're in good hands because we're their neighbors. So they know us.
Thank you.
Thanks very much. That was great. Thank you.
I'm going to ask one more question. Oh, Sarah, you've got a question?
Yeah. Have you done any podcasts about that? You know, talking about the stories of how important it is for first responders and also, you know, the post-traumatic stress and all that the post responders go through. Have you done podcasts on that?
Yes, I have. In fact, I even did a very lengthy speech about it on Alignable with one of the groups there. And as they asked me to put together a full-length documentary discussion on what it's like being a volunteer first responder in a small community. And I told them all the ins and outs of it. There are times where you wind up responding to a major scene where, after it's done, then you wind up having to try to process it on your own, because when you come from a small department like that, you don't have the resources for professionals to talk to for after the scene, and you almost have to deal with it either on your own or you have to find others to talk to. And that's the hard part about it. And I did go through a situation like that myself, and it took a while for me to get over it. So yeah,
I'd love to do a show on that with you, Earl.
Yeah, and I'll be doing more about it too.
Yeah, I'd love you to come on air and share that with me as well, because people really do not understand, you know, the real challenges of being a first responder. And as you said, how do you kind of put on just, you know, the business face, so to speak, and get on and do things and not be affected by it? So I'd love to interview you on that.
Excellent. Thank
Yeah,
you so much.
be happy to.
So I'm going to ask the final question. So if you help people set up to become podcasters for, the everyday person, what's the starting price? How much does it cost?
I can get somebody up and running started for about $300 or less.
There you go. All right, that's all I needed to know. Thank you so much. How much does it cost to start a podcast? There you go, 300 or less. Talk to Earl, because he won't have you go out and get all the great big expensive stuff and do all these extra things that you don't need at the beginning. Thank you so much, Earl. Thank you for being our speaker today, and thank you for enlightening us more about you and podcasting and what's the way forward, and that you're the guy to help out. Thank you so much. We're now at the very last part of business.
And one last quick snippet here. That $300 or less, that's for the equipment and software. Now that does not include my fee.
Okay, so that was the question I was asking. So you have to tell me, what's the starting price? What's your fee?
Okay, well, I've got a base price of $500.
There you go,
That's
stop.
gonna cover up
Stop.
to that.
No, just stop talking there, right? We can interpret $500. We can work out what that is, or at the very least, we can ask you questions in a one-to-one, right?
Right.
So the real secret is, when someone says how much it is, just answer the question, and then let, like, the money question, answer it with a number, and let them ask more questions. Don't worry, the customer has questions. You just have to allow that. And this is for everybody. Just allow the questions to come through from the customer. You don't have to explain yourself. Customer will ask. So if you've got more questions about podcasting, talk to Earl. Have a one-to-one, talk to Earl, find out more. If you're not sure what is involved in that 500, ask him. That's what the one-to-one is all about. You know, this question of tell me more about what you do. Well, in regards to podcasting and your fee, there you go. Give him a checkpoint at least to start talking about, not just generally. Who knows where that conversation could go with any one person at any one time.